Hey folks, Mike Seekleiner, live on Friday morning. Normally we're live on Wednesday morning, but good morning. How's everybody doing this morning? Man, we got a lot of people on. So hopefully you're getting the messages and notifications, or other folks are getting the notifications and are about to jump on. But as always, please let people know that join us on these live streams, that we are live, and let them know we are ready to get going. And without further ado, I'm going to jump into it because I actually have a couple of the things that I got to get done. I just got back from a big teaching trip in Montana. So for those of you in the Missoula area or Montana or anybody that took that class, shout out to you. So thank you so much for joining me. It was an incredible class, and I had a great time. So a few things. Um, as always, I try to introduce myself for those of you that are new to this live stream. So if you're watching on Facebook Live this morning, or if you're a YouTuber, so shout out to you YouTubers because we post all of these videos on YouTube later on. Good morning, my name is Mike Seekleiner, and I'm going to be talking to you about the sweep, specifically the shirt sweep when you're doing the defensive handgun draw process and draw. So we'll talk about the draw technique. Of course, the draw technique ties directly in with the grip and some of the other mechanics that we've taught in the past. So if you haven't learned that, or if you don't know about the grip or how to pull the trigger or whatever else, go back to the replays on YouTube and watch GTS, grip trigger sights. I've posted that multiple times and answered questions and stuff like that. So there's a lot of good tips. Today we will talk about, grip building mechanics and trigger. I actually have a couple different guns to demo with, but I will mainly focus on the draw, specifically, sort of the draw context and then technique behind the context, okay? Um, and of course, I will answer questions as we go. I think I got a question. What's 555? Who knows what 555 is? If you could post what 555 is, let everybody else know. Anybody that knows what 555 is, if you don't know what it is, I will answer that question at the end of the live stream. So, without further ado, let me get into my official spiel here. Safety first, of course, no live weapons. I'm going to be demoing with an unloaded pistol. I'll pull the magazine out. I actually have an orange dummy round kind of tab in this magazine, and this is actually one of my carry guns. So this is a little compact EDC 9. This is much like the smaller version, the small compact version that Wilson Combat makes, like the Sentinel. So this thing is my current carry gun, EDC 9, kind of a nice little gun. And by the way, this particular gun has an external extractor. It's a 1911 style gun, but it's very reliable. So it's something that I trust on a daily basis to carry. But anyways, I've got a clear chamber and a clear magazine. I'll insert that real quick. And the second thing I'm going to be demoing with today on the live streams is what's called a cool fire trainer. If you haven't seen this, I've demoed these before. If you notice, there's a red barrel in this pistola, and I've got an orange dummy tab there. Okay, so this is filled with compressed air. I took this Glock 19 barrel out, the recoil spring, put compressed air in, and I can pull the trigger. Check this out, and I get felt recoil. Okay, so that's called the cool fire trainer. By the way, this is one of the Glock modified versions from Wilson Combat with my logo. So for those of you that are coin members, shout out to you. You want to get that on your Glock. Maybe some other guns. I think they're doing this on some other guns. Shout out. Let me know and I can facilitate that and hook you up with that. Okay. So no live weapons or ammunition. Check now. If you're going to train with me or if you're going to do the draw, please double check. Make sure you don't have a live weapon or your carry gun loaded in the room. Get rid of it right now. A little bit about my bio. If you're watching this right now, you can find out more about me and who I am. I'm a professional shooter as well as professional instructor. Been doing this for many, many years. But if you want to go to shooting-performance.com or MikeSeekleiner.com, you can find out more about me as well as the programs with, excuse me, within this live stream and what I'm actually following. I got a little bit of an allergy stuff going on this morning. I'm not sure what's going on there. So if we had some rain last night here in the Tulsa area, maybe that's what brought it down. If you are new to the live streams, thank you for joining me. If you're new watching this on YouTube and if you like what you see, please post a comment and also a question. So if you're watching this edited version later on, not live, please feel free in the comment section to post a question. If you don't get what I'm talking about or if you want me to expand on a post a question, I always go back and answer those questions. I try to do a good job of that. And a couple reminders, please join the Facebook group called Training Addicts. It's called Shoot Performance Training Addicts. That's where I post a lot of content as well as all the schedules. It's the outside group or the external group. You don't have to be a member to be a part of that group. Anybody can join it as long as you're a decent person. And those of you that are members, if you're not members of the closed groups, the AWS Coin members groups and the Shooting Performance ACSS live group, please join those groups if you actually are an owner of a program or one of my coin members. Coin member, shout out to you. I think I already said this morning. Post your coin number if you would, like always. And last but not least, there are a couple things. Don't forget that this video, these live streams are the basics. We're in the defensive handgun cycle right now. But, when I do the live stream, I teach, 4 primary components. Typically, the fundamental grip trigger sights, the draw process, distance. Sometimes we'll talk about, moving, like stepping left or right. And then, sometimes reload. So like with the competition handgun cycle, that's what I did. Same thing with the defensive handgun cycle, but understand these are the basics. If you wanted to follow the full program, I think I actually probably have the book in one of my bookshelves behind me here. The full program that I'm teaching some of this material from comes from the Defensive Handgun Training Program. So if you want to check out the full program, go to my website, mikecleaner.com, and you can actually see the full program. It's a 3-phased actual program with dry fire and live fire drills and stuff like that. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. So first of all, let me get this table a little bit closer here so I don't have to bend over a lot. Just real quickly, the gear that I'm actually wearing, I'm going to put my actual carry system on, and hopefully you got a good view. I'm thinking I can get back far enough from the camera. If not, I'll adjust the camera angle. But I'm putting on my full, basically, carry system. I wanted to show you what I actually carry, and then you can solicit questions. Of course, this is unloaded. I don't carry an unloaded magazine. But I normally carry the handgun loaded, obviously, and then I carry 1 single magazine in the pouch. So I have 10 rounds in the gun, and I have 10 rounds in the magazine. So I carry an external or an extended magazine that actually goes in my 1911. Let me show you how this sucker works. I've got it. Yeah, the triple nickel is it's basically a shooting skills test where you get a challenge coin, and it's a super high speed test that you got to have pretty fast shooting skills and manipulation skills. I actually think I have a video of it online somewhere that came from, and someone just posted it as well. A buddy of mine that ran the Federal Air Marshal Firearms Training Program after I left, and he wanted to have a way to test his instructors and make sure they were ready to do demonstrations and up to speed. So he came up with the triple nickel, challenged his instructors, and if they could pass the triple nickel, then they could do demos. Because a lot of times, for those of you that don't know, I used to be the lead instructor for the Federal Air Marshal Program. We used to have to do demos for politicians and news agencies and everything post 9/11. So we did a lot of high-profile demos, and you got to be on the money when you're doing a shooting demo for a congressman or a vice president or something like that. So that's it. That's exactly right. Okay, so let me put this on. So typically I will carry a single magazine pouch loaded with 10 rounds, and I'm going to go ahead and clip this sucker on. By the way, these magazine pouches and holsters are made by Precision Holsters. And then I carry in the appendix position. We'll talk a little bit about the pros and cons. I'll carry in the handgun in the appendix position. A couple things about this holster is if you're going to carry in the appendix position, be understanding of the fact that you have to have the right gear, number one. You absolutely have to have the right mindset in terms of training. Like, I would not recommend someone carrying in the appendix position if they're not truly dedicated to practicing and training a lot, right? Because, that gun in the appendix position is pointed in a direction that certainly could be problematic if you make a mistake. That said, a lot of the folks that kind of poo-poo on the appendix position say, well, you're pointing the gun at your vitals. Well, to be honest with you, a lot of people that are carrying a strong side or anywhere else on their body are pointing the gun at their vitals to an extent as well. And anybody that carries a shoulder holster is pointing the gun at anybody behind them and certainly some vitals too. So the concept of carrying a handgun is that you have a well-designed holster like this one. This is called the Ultra Appendix Inside the Waistband Holster. It's purposely designed for appendix carry. It has a couple features. For example, the build out on the bottom and the build out on this side of the holster are specifically so the holster takes the handgun and pushes it in and turns the handgun into my body. So when I wear this holster, this handgun is pushed in and turned into my body, which makes it a lot more concealed. And this is not a huge handgun, but it's not a tiny little mouse gun either, if that makes any sense. Okay, so by the way, this one clips on. I strongly recommend when you're looking at defensive handgun carry gear, a holster, a few things. Number one, I would tell you to avoid paddles. I'm not a big fan of paddle holsters. Paddle holsters are okay on the range where you're going quick on and quick off, but they don't stay on your body very long. Number two, if you have clips on your holster, make sure they're very robust and strong clips. I mean, they need to be strong enough to hold the holster on if you're rolling around the ground and fighting for your life. And also, some of the clips out there have kind of a little metal, I don't know what to call it, but like a tab, so you can easily grab it and open the clip to put it on your belt. The problem with those tabs is they can get caught up on your shirt when you're sweeping the shirt or whatever else. So I recommend a clip with kind of a round surface. Now these are plastic clips. Metal clips are fine. These are pretty robust, strong plastic clips, and they also have straps sometimes you actually strap the holster on. So just make sure if you're selecting, a holster with clips on it, that you select the right holster. Now, when this sucker's on, and by the way, in video one of this sequence, I talked about gear. I talked all about the belt, about the holster, about mag pouches. So if you haven't seen that, go to YouTube and check that out, okay? But when I actually get this sucker on, I'm not sure if you can see it. Hopefully I'm far enough from the camera. It's pretty much completely concealed. I'm holding my hands up. You might be able to see a little bit of a printing of that clip on my t-shirt. But if I have the right kind of shirt on, it's very hidden. The gun is pretty much not able to, you're not able to see it. And this comes from a couple things. Number one, because of the color of the shirt that I'm wearing, this helps in hiding the shirt. One of the things that I look at is I look for shirts that have different patterns in different places. And these different patterns can actually draw your eye away from where the gun is. Now, a lot of people ask, what is the triple nickel? What is the 5.55? Which is fine, but I want their vision here versus their vision here, okay? Interestingly enough, though, when we're talking about concealing a handgun and carrying a concealed handgun, the large majority of folks out there are not looking to see if someone's carrying a gun. Matter of fact, you can print a little bit and have a handgun that's printing, and most people still probably won't notice that. So just be aware of that. I think a lot of people over worry maybe about that printing process. Okay, so let me talk to you about what I want to get into today, and that is specifically how I'm sweeping the garment out of the way. And let me give you, when you're drawing your handgun, you're probably going to be wearing either what's called a closed front garment, like a t-shirt or a polo shirt, or an open front garment, which is like like a button-down shirt that's unbuttoned, or a jacket, or whatever else. The key concept in sweeping, and this is one of the big differences in how I sweep versus a lot of other instructors teach you to sweep, is when I'm sweeping the garment on a closed front garment, on a t-shirt or on a polo shirt, I sweep with my strong hand. A lot of individuals out there sweep and teach sweep with the support hand. The problem with what I call, and the term I hear oftentimes is the rip and grip, okay? Meaning they rip the shirt out of the way and they grip the handgun out of the holster. The problem with the rip and grip is it makes the assumption that your left hand or your support hand is available to do the ripping. But I might be in a circumstance where I'm searching a parking lot because I heard a noise and I've got my flashlight in my hand, and I need to have the ability to sweep that handgun or the concealment garment out of the way with only my strong hand. I might be in a situation where I've already got into a fight and I'm fighting with someone and I'm holding their body parts in a position where I can in fact, draw, like some of the stuff that Craig Douglas, South Narc teaches. Well, in that case, I'm occupying this hand by fighting or holding someone else, so I need to have the ability to sweep with this hand. I might have picked a kid up and I'm running, I've got my daughter and I'm getting out of the parking lot because I heard some shots and I'm not sure where the shooter is, and I want to get the handgun out in my hand. I want to sweep that garment with a strong hand. So there are probably, 5 or 6 great reasons where if you're going to sweep or do a sweep with your hand, that you'll learn how to do it with your strong hand. And what I found is, put my flashlight away, is I am pretty much just as fast with the sweep with my strong hand as I would be the rip and grip. I mean, there's really no difference in the speed that I'm sweeping it. Let me show you what I'm doing. So when I'm sweeping the garment out of the way, and by the way, folks, if you have questions, hold them. I'll walk up to the camera and I'll solicit questions here in a second. When I'm sweeping, I'm in essence taking my strong hand and I'm making a 4-finger hook, okay? And I'm reaching inside that t-shirt and I'm basically going to draw a big C around the gun. Let me show you that C. So the C starts in front of the gun. So my gun is on my belt right here, right? So I'm reaching in front of my gun with a 4-finger hook. And then I'm going to draw a big C around the gun. See the C? There's the C. Okay, I'm drawing a big C. And at the top of the C, I'm going to switch to my thumb. So basically, I'm going to take my thumb and I'm going to drive it down up the back strap of the grip itself. So I'm taking my thumb and I'm establishing that grip in the holster. So by drawing a big C and maintaining control of my garment, I never have the garment or the shirt fall back in the way of my grip, right? So as I'm drawing a big C, watch how I go from the back of my knuckles in contact with my body to my thumb in contact with my body, and notice how it pins, important point, it pins the shirt up and out of the way, right? So that shirt is actually being held up and out of the way by that thumb, which allows me to continue to facilitate that grip building process, drive the hand up the back strap of the gun, put the second hand on the handgun and fire away. Now, notice when I did the draw process, when you do your draw, a couple key components. Number one, when one hand moves, they both have to move. So if I'm sitting, in a position where I'm talking to someone and said, hey, back up, get away from me, or just bringing my hands up because I'm not sure what the person's doing, and I decide to draw, when this hand moves, this hand has to move as well. So watch the hands move at the same time, same speed, okay? So number one, they move at the same time and they move at the same speed. Here's where they go. The strong hand goes to the position in front of your gun so you can start your C, your big C in terms of the sweep. The support hand is going to go down, and I may assist with the support hand sometimes, but generally speaking, it's just going down, settling onto my body. So when I draw the handgun out, I can very quickly index under the trigger guard. Those of you that have watched my live stream videos, you know what I call this. The trigger guard index point is the grip building process called the Judy chop or the trigger guard index point. The official term is trigger guard index point. The unofficial fun term is the Judy chop, because I'm chopping my hand up into the corner of the trigger guard right here to build that grip. By the way, if you haven't heard that term or watched the video, go to YouTube and look up the grip trigger sights GTS video, and I'll teach all about that. Okay. So this is the Ultra Appendix inside the waistband holster made by Precision Holsters. And this is purpose designed for the appendix carrier. So this is precisionholsters.com if you go to their website. Matter of fact, if you go to precisionholsters.com/CClander, my last name, you get to see me, an awesome picture of me in the holster and the stuff I wear. I see you in Portland, Oregon. Good morning. Casey, thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate you. So that's the holster I'm wearing right now. Clips onto my belt. And by the way, someone else asked about the belt. I think I have another belt on in here somewhere I can get it. I'm not going to take my belt off to show you. I will at the end of the video. But my belt, you probably can't see it, is a belt made by precisionholsters.com. For those of you that have questions on gear, do me a favor or do yourself a favor and once again go back to YouTube and rewind. It's probably 3 or 4 videos ago. There was a full video on defensive handgun gear. I talk about lights, I talk about guns, I talk about defensive handgun setup and holster and stuff like that. Okay? So, of course, holstering up, I'm simply going to get that shirt out of the way. And if you're an appendix carrier, I learned this from Todd Green, rest in peace, Todd. He's not with us anymore. But Todd used to teach in terms of the appendix carry, where he would have his students actually kind of stick their hips out to an extent, right, and holster up in a safe manner. So the muzzle is never actually pointed, this direction. So I'm doing this in a very deliberate manner. The reason I don't do a rip and grip is it's not one-handed. So if you do my strong hand, big C, sweep and grip, it is a one-handed method. So I could get let's simulate this. I'm searching a parking lot and I decide I want to draw the handgun. I can grab the handgun with this grip. Okay, I can sweep it with one hand without having to use the other hand. That's the benefit of the strong hand sweep. I would strongly recommend, if you're carrying a handgun in the appendix position or even the strong side position, that you investigate that sweep and grip where it's strong hand only. Notice I'm not using the other hand at all. I don't need to use the other hand because once again, if I was searching that parking lot with a flashlight, I wouldn't want to use the second hand. So we talked about the C. One hand moves, they both move. Draw that big C around your handgun, and this is going to take some practice where you're doing this. Remember, the key component here is the finger switch. So what I mean by that is, initially, when I'm sweeping the garment, the backs of my knuckles, okay, are actually touching my body. When I get to the top of the C, I switch to my thumb, and then I run that thumb down behind the handgun, right? the reason I'm switching from here to here is it continues to hold the shirt up and out of the way, right? That's the entire purpose of me doing the finger switch, and I can draw the handgun and then fire those shots. Okay. And someone just asked, well, what if your strong hand is disabled? This is not actually the one-handed survival shooting block of instruction on live. I have done that on Facebook on live, but if my strong hand was disabled, I would in essence do the same process, draw that handgun out, place it between my knees, and fire those shots. I can actually reholster like that as well. So I have a method to do that, but remember, these live videos, folks, are the fundamental videos where if I get across the basics and fundamentals to people, and you all or they all practice them on a regular basis. By the way, I'm dry fire. You practice this stuff dry fire. Hopefully, we can start to change the shooting culture, change the gun owner's world, where people are actually deciding to buy firearms, deciding to go armed, and then more importantly, practicing with those firearms on a regular basis, to a skill level where if we had to utilize them, we all become force multipliers. So if you're watching this right now and you're wondering, what about an advanced technique? I teach the fundamentals during the cycle, and if you want to get into the entire program, please go to MikeSequander.com, select your defensive handgun training program. There's a full 300-page book with all of the strong and support hand only draw processes. Okay. All right, folks, I got to go here in just a couple minutes. So we talked about the carry process or the concealed carry draw process, and here's what I want you to do. Here's your assignment. You're going to work some draws, and you're going to work from 3 different start positions. Start position number 1 is where your hands are relaxed at your sides. Remember, when one hand moves, both hands move, you're going to draw, you're going to fire those shots, okay? Then you're going to start in a different position where you're going to take your hands and start to raise them up in, maybe a fence. Maybe you're starting to bring your hands up to warn someone to get back from you, where your hands are somewhere between bell line and the target. Wherever those hands are, vary that hand position. Once again, both hands move at the same time and the same speed. You're going to fire those shots just like that, okay? And then you're going to start with what I call the cheater position. The cheater position, I see you jumping on there, Doug. The cheater position is very simple in that you're going to take your hands where they were, and you're going to say, okay, maybe I know I'm going to have to draw the handgun. And I know that the sweep of the jacket or the garment is the tough part of the process. So I'm actually going to reach down inside my shirt. So I'm going to start the process by not brandishing my gun, but if you can see my hand here, I'm simply reaching inside the shirt. The other hand is still trying to tell the person, hey, back up or get away. But watch what happens to this hand when I draw the handgun. That hand has to come back to my chest so I can effectively do my Judy chop or my trigger at index point to fire those shots. So you're going to practice from 3 different positions. One where your hands are relaxed at sides, draw the handgun, practice your draw. Okay. One where your hands are up in front of you, draw the handgun, draw. Okay. And one where you're in what I call the cheater position, where your hand is slipping inside the garment. Watch the left hand come back. Draw the handgun, fire your shot. Okay? So, if you have the time this morning, let's say, how about 25 dry fire draws? That's 2, 5. Dry fire draws from each of those 3 positions. Now, some of you may say, hey, Mike, what about stepping off line left and right? Sure, you can step off line left and right. It's simply a matter of you literally doing a step as you're drawing the handgun. So fine, if you want to do some offline movement, I don't think there's always a purpose between or behind offline movement, meaning I don't think you should always draw offline. But if you want to do some of these stepping left or stepping right or moving, simulating moving to cover, fine, by all means do it. But do at least 25 draws from each of those positions. Okay, folks? Hey, do me a favor if you're watching this now on the very tail end. I'm about to shut down here, but share it. This is a simple video. It's easy to watch, easy to join in. I try to teach some things and then give an assignment, tell people to to practice the process. So please practice that process of drawing. And we are force multipliers, folks. Maybe I'm not saying that as smoothly as I should. I'm not in my recruiting moment right now, but we are force multipliers. So I want you well trained and ready. If you are in a store and maybe need to defend my family as well as yourself, and I'm going to be well trained. So if I'm in the store with your family and need to defend them, we can. I think that's one of the biggest ways or best ways we can facilitate a change in our communities. Okay. Charles asked about the difference between a thick coat. So, for example, if you're wearing an open front garment, right? This is a closed front garment, Charles. I'm sweeping the shirt out of the way with the big C. If I were drawing from an open front garment, right, I would reach in with my forefingers and I would sweep and draw kind of a sideways sweep by sweeping that coat or that garment out of the way to either a strong side position or finish. So the only difference, Charles, is where I actually reach my hand, okay? And someone else asked about ammo in terms of what's a sufficient amount of ammo. If I saw the question, hopefully I caught that question right. I carry, so typically when I'm carrying, I'll have a 9-round magazine in the gun and one in the chamber. Of course, this one is unloaded. We already did our safety check earlier in the video. So I carry 10 rounds total in the gun, and I carry a spare magazine with 10 rounds on my person. But remember, I'm a concealed carrying civilian. If I was still in law enforcement, I would carry a lot more. If I was in the U.S. military, in certain circumstances, I would carry more. So for my standard daily carry, civilian daily carry, I'm carrying 20 total rounds in the gun. Of course, I have a couple magazines in my truck. Okay. And Dan, you are exactly right. Constant training. If we can motivate other people out there to do constant training. By the way, one last view of my carry system. This is the Ultra Appendix inside the waistband holster. You can learn about them at precisionholsters.com. They're one of my podcast sponsors. By the way, if you don't know I have a podcast, please Google American Warrior Show. You'll find my podcast. There are some guests on the podcast that are incredible. Elke, the spare magazine was just right there on my belt. So it's clipped on my belt. Right there, probably about 9 o'clock, maybe a little bit behind my belt line. So I normally have just a simple clip-on pouch that's pretty secure that holds the magazine in. So that's my carry system right there. Okay? If you enjoyed this, please share it. So if you're a YouTuber, hey, YouTuber, shout out to you. Don't forget, YouTubers, ask questions. So if you have a question about anything I covered, just type it in the comment section. If you like it, please tell me how. I like the video. I appreciate it. I will get on YouTube on pretty much a daily basis and answer those questions. So if you have a question, you're watching this later on the replay on YouTube. And by the way, all YouTube replays are free. I have a guy that I pay after doing a free live Facebook video to edit the video and put it on YouTube. So don't forget, they're all there. Every one of these is edited down to nice little chunks that you can watch very easily. And by the way, Instagram as well. Follow me on Instagram. I'm putting out shooting tips on a daily basis on Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, please do that and tell other people about me on Instagram as well. These are the basics. Last but not least, these are the basics, okay? They are not the entire training program that you would get if you got my book, but they're enough where you can train to a high level of proficiency. If you want, the other 22 drills and the information in the program, go to MikeCClander.com. You can check out all that stuff, including the American Warrior Society and the Competitive Shooter Society if you're into competing, okay? And that's it, folks. Check out my podcast if you want to learn about me. You can do that. Most live streams are Wednesday mornings. Of course, this was Friday morning because I just got back from a big trip. Looks like we're ending Friday morning with about 49 live viewers, which is okay. If I can help 49 live people, that's fine with me. Hopefully next time, I believe I have the next one scheduled for next Wednesday. We'll have 149. Let's break 100, okay? Stay safe. Have a great weekend.